live now. Okay. I'll say this again when we go back.
We're live.
So we are live. Amazing.
Again.
Okay, I was just gonna say, super. So don't worry, you haven't missed anything. So just to sum up, I'm anticipating that we're gonna have a new draft of this. It's just to briefly, touch base with the committee. The spirit of these changes anyway, it makes sense to me to move forward with. Any comments or thoughts on the suggested parts of this?
I think it's good.
Yeah.
Where we are.
Great, and so we'll see a new draft. I don't remember, we do, I think, have it on the agenda again Thursday, so.
Could I just try to summarize what you want to?
Sure, yes, that'd be great.
You want to move that authority, the cybersecurity rewrite to 1672 and the powers of the secretary. But you're not going to address overall authority for cybersecurity and other.
Right, not at this point.
And we're gonna update the deaf, and she had some changes related to that.
Which is already in.
Oh, it is, okay.
That draft.
Yes.
It does also eliminate the reference to wireless. It just eliminates the word wireless.
Just device, it just focuses
yeah.
on device.
And then this was a change that we talked about a while ago, but just to be clear that I could probably skim this and tell this really quickly, but that again, allowing people to charge if they opt out, or utilities to charge if they opt out, not just for water, but across utilities.
That is in there.
That
Well, electric, it was electric.
we didn't do gas.
No, because the smart meter provision in Title 30 is specific to electric.
Okay.
No, okay. Okay. That may be another one that perhaps further edits are, that there's interest in further edits, maybe the House can take a look at that.
I do think that's a something the operators would love to speak on, that is a consideration of their overall operations. Given that, over 90% of the municipalities are installers. The mechanisms for what's allowable for them from the meter to the house has a high rate of responsibility of the homeowner, and the language itself, they had expressed some concerns that I don't know.
Is that electricity or the water?
Water for the opt-out at no cost versus not, where
Oh, they can charge whatever the cost is for not doing the meter. Yeah,
I
that's.
knew that he was running up, so we didn't touch that, that's not my son,
Yeah,
focus on cyber, I think.
yeah, no, and we had them in here to talk about it before, so I think what's in here is.
Okay, so I think we have some clarity about next steps. Thank you. Oh my gosh, so good. And thank you also to Senator Hardy for.
Yeah,
So much work on this, so good.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're gonna go back to 223. With some a new draft. It's did so I say the word postponed. Yes, okay. Waiting.
Next meeting.
So
I told her we have to keep all of it.
okay. So while we're switching gears here, we did have Ms. Goldstein of VITA, Vermont Economic Development Authority, scheduled for 10:40. Obviously, the last thing ran over, and as I understand it, Ms. Goldstein has another appointment. So we are just going to reschedule Ms. Goldstein from VITA to talk about her thoughts on S-138, which is not a reflection of how excited I am to hear from her about S-138. So just super grateful, and my apologies that we have run out of time, but I'll also respect your time.
Right.
So we'll find another opportunity to connect with you about 38. Thank you so much.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Okay.
Bye.
And so we're going back to S-223. We have a new draft.
All right, here's the new draft. Oh, okay, thank you so much. 3.1, all right. Anyone else?
I'm good.
Okay,
I think we're good.
I will just focus on that one suggested change, page 3. Just 14 to 18. Evaluate whether the existing water classification system in the state and related statutory and regulatory frameworks protect the ecological integrity of the state's lakes and ponds, adequately address current and potential threats to the water quality of the state's lakes and ponds, and provide regulatory certainty.
Great. Okay. Right, and thank you so much also, Senator Wright, for noticing that. Sure. Good.
I was just waiting till it was done.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah. Okay, any other comments, questions, thoughts on this? Okay, go ahead, Senator Bonds. Or, yeah, go ahead.
Move that we pass draft 3.1 of S 2240.
And so with that, if the clerk can call the roll.
Okay, Senator Beck, yes, Senator Ballhorn,
Yes.
Senator Hardy,
Yes.
Senator Williams, yes. Senator Watson.
Yes. Okay, super, and for this one, if Senator Bonner, so you, okay, great, thank you.
We'll go to approach because of the compensation for the numbers.
Super, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, super, so, our next thing is, moving to S 138. Hearing again from, Mr. Yaki from the, Secret Alliance.
He's not in yet.
So I think we will take a break at least until 11. And hopefully he'll be on. Okay, we'll take a little break.
Hey, Michael. We're, still on a break. How are you for time?
I'm good.
Okay, great. We'll be back shortly.
No problem at all.
Here we go. We're live.
Okay, hello, this is Senate Natural Resources and Energy, coming back from a break, and we are looking at S 138 about commercial pace. And we are joined by Mr. Yaki of the C-Pace Alliance, or board member of C-Pace Alliance. Welcome back, so good to have you.
Thank you. Thank you. Glad to be back.
Yeah, so my thought for now was to either jump back into walking through the language that you have, or I know there's another draft that that you may want to talk about, and that is also perfectly lovely if you want to do that.
Yeah, I sent one early yesterday. Did you receive it?
We did. Can you turn it up just?
Yes.
And
Is
our,
this, I'm sorry,
this is the one that you,
is this the one?
Okay, this is the one from yesterday?
I think so.
Okay,
I will
amazing.
confirm in a
Okay,
minute.
yep, sure. Yes, this is the one from
Okay.
yesterday. Okay. So unfortunately, now I need to remember where roughly we left off.
Well,
and-
I know where we left off. It was essentially after I talked about the importance of the lean language, and then you said we have a few minutes left, and then I kind of stopped talking.
Gotcha. Okay, in addition, anything that we should backtrack to, that is different from this copy? I think there might be one thing, but
Yeah, no, the one thing that is different is that I thought about this some more and decided it really made sense to, because this doesn't involve any governmental money, governmental bonding, governmental finance, the requirement of it going to the voters, I think would be uh, well, it would be a best practice to remove that and simply give the authority to the legislative body to enact an ordinance to designate the municipality as a property assessed clean energy district. This is in keeping with the rest of the country. It's certainly what New Hampshire is figuring out they should have done in the first place next door. The timing of deals is such that it's very difficult to sort of time your financing for when a municipality may have an election and to do things. And this gives, again, because this is voluntary by a local government, this doesn't mandate anything, but should something pop up in their area, they have the flexibility to move faster to enable a CPACE program in their district than have it artificially governed by the timetable for a vote.
great. Any questions
So
on?
that just basically removes the language for voter approval and just gives direct authorization to a municipality to uh, get that done. Um,
Super,
and I,
thank
and
you.
I and I think that's consistent with what Vita said as well. So
And just so, you're clear, we ended up not hearing from, Joan Goldstein of Vita, earlier, we ran out of time, so we're gonna hear from Vita, later in the week, hopefully.
okay,
But they did submit, she did submit some written testimony, which I don't know if that has been posted, I haven't looked to see it.
I don't
Okay.
remember.
But just to affirm that, like, yes, that was in her written testimony as well.
Yes, it's posted.
Great.
Her.
Sorry, thank you.
okay. So I would say we pretty much went through everything up to um, and through the end of section page 4, section 2, the discussion of why simply stating the legality and the legal characteristics of the lien takes care of a lot of other language, cleans it up, is really what the capital markets are looking for in terms of rating these kinds of financings. So why don't we go to subsection 3 of page 5, where I start making some more changes. And this goes to address a couple of issues. One is, how much do you want the municipality as a part of the financial agreement between the property owner and the capital provider? Because rather than, and I say that for a number of reasons. One, it creates a process that the city will then have to devote resources to, number one. And number two, it it kind of makes the city a third party to any agreement and therefore to any disputes in an agreement. And I think it's better to simply not have that. The city's responsibility is to put the lien on the property, but if all conditions and if the statutory requirements are met. But to get into the weeds on the financing terms itself, I think is not a best practice and not what we have heard most local governments want to get involved in. So I wanted to try and change some of these disclosures to um, the capital provider. It has to make a disclosure, and that's pretty consistent with any kind of disclosures under law. It's not the federal government, on your mortgage makes disclosures. It is the bank that has to make disclosures. It's not the federal government that says, Tylenol has to warn you that you can't take this and then drink a fifth of scotch at the same time. Tylenol has to tell you to do that. So this is in keeping with that. So the language starting in three, takes out the word participating municipality, puts in capital provider. Um, in D, again, rather than get into the weeds about what um should be filed or not filed with the court, I mean, with when it's recorded, just require them to do um, a simple copy of the agreement or notice of the agreement between on the lien, because that's really what the a recording does, is it gives notice to other people about what encumbrances are on the property, rather than getting into, oh, by the way, they put in a new air conditioner, they put in this, they put in that, or whatever it is that they need to do. So that cleans that up. Um,
Sorry, can I
and
interrupt you?
sorry,
So
yes,
kind of, if I can interrupt you, so I just want to clarify because page 5 line 3, where there's a disclosure that needs to be provided, and so you're saying that it's the capital provider, not the municipality that
right,
that does this, um and then I think you've also moved on to part D
right,
on that.
and indeed, rather than basically what you're really disclosing. Here's the thing: potential buyers are going to be what they need to be aware of is they need to be aware that there's a lien on the property, an assessment on the property. Um, they will, and that you can attach a copy as often done, a copy of the written agreement as to what the lien is about. So they are on notice and they are aware. That's really all you need to do, because the due diligence that property buyers do all the time will uncover whatever it is that they need to uncover. As long as that the written agreement will state that this is a lien as assessed for security for financing of certain stated um, objectives, blah 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 blah, and you don't need to talk about person identifiable information, all this other kind of stuff. It doesn't. It's not needed to even be put in the statute, because no one would put it there anyway. It's simply a recording of the lien and a copy of the agreement between the property owner and the local government, which will specify that it was done to secure financing of X amount over X term for X purposes, and that's really all that you need.
Mhm. So the analysis part of it is really not necessary
No,
for
no,
this.
no. And they can ask for it if they need it from the property owner, but what they want to know is what the office of records is, or land registry deed, whatever it is, recorder's office is about, is providing notice of encumbrances on the property.
Mhm. Mhm.
And then I don't have really any more changes until um page 7. And these changes are really done to provide flexibility to local governments as to how to administer the program. So every district has to, every local government has to designate a program administrator, someone or some office that will accept applications, review them, approve them, and then execute the documents necessary to impose the lien on the property. That can be internal, that can be third party, and in my rewrite in this particular thing, it could also be a state agency such as VITA. And we can talk about the VITA section all on its own, but this basically conforms the language to make it clear that all these things can be done, will be done by the program administrator. That definition encompassing all the things that I mentioned before, in-house, third party, state agency. It just doesn't rather than tie it immediately to any agency, you're giving the local government flexibility to move forward and do it. And I put some cleanup language in there as well. So that's pretty much
Okay, I think we have a question from Senator Hardy. Go ahead.
Yeah, does your organization work as a program administrator?
no. Well, in some jurisdictions, the statute allows us to be, but for the most part, in most states, it's either internal or a third party. The
I
way the way that the program is written here, it's very easy for a local government to want to do it itself if they do, even if they only have like 3 people working for them. I mean, the reality of CPACE life for the next 3 or 4 years at least, maybe more longer, is that any one community may get one application a year. So it's not something that you have to gear yourself up for. You're not giving out money, you're not handing out lottery tickets. It is what comes to you comes to a local government fully baked. They've a capital provider and a property owner have already pre-negotiated pretty much 99.99% of it before it comes to a local government for approval. That means that we have gone through it, checked all the boxes to make sure that they're doing the things that the statute requires, that will meet the guidelines, etc., to make it easy for local government to move forward.
Okay.
There are also sorry.
Wait, can I stop you? Because I had a question
Yes.
all I wanted to know was whether your organization acts as a program administrator. You said not usually. Do you act as a lender?
Yes. Well, okay, there's sort of I'm wearing 2 hats here.
Yeah, I
One-
know that. I know that. So I which is making me a little nervous. So I want to make sure that the program administrator is not also the lender. I think that's a conflict of interest,
That's fine.
administrator and the lender.
We
Yeah.
we have language in some. I mean, it's really only rare. And what's interesting is that in those areas, there's actually a program district that we all have to subscribe to. In order to subscribe to it, we have to abide by certain guidelines, and so we're quote unquote our administrators, but we're really not. So yeah, you can certainly put in language. I can put in language that says
No,
that
we have a legislative council attorney who does this work for us.
okay, well, I do a lot of writing. I'm a lawyer as well, so I do a lot of writing.
We'll make sure
Yeah, but
that
you don't
something
work
like
for
that-
us, with all due respect.
So we'll make sure that something like that.
Okay.
Makes it in.
That's fine.
Thank you. Okay, so I wanna make sure that I am understanding the remainder of this. Unless there's specifics that you wanna walk through on how this part works. I mean, what I am hearing is that the program administrator section. Again, correct me if I'm wrong, but creates three options, right? Like, so the municipality could be the program administrators themselves. It could be a third party, or it could be a state agency.
Yes.
Okay, so we've got options.
Mhm. You do.
Okay. And then anything else to, oh gosh, I'm wondering if we should just keep walking through this? Unless, yeah. Um,
I think we could keep walking through it, and then where we can have a just committee discussion,
Yes.
just us.
yeah, I think that's
That,
what
I
I
think
think.
that would be helpful.
Yeah, that'd be great. Can we keep going, Mr. Yaki? Is that okay? In terms of like walking through what the changes are doing?
Sure. So, I just spelled out that the program administrator may collect fees, subcontract with one or more parties to perform all or part of all of the duties of a program administrator. The one thing that I did not discuss, and it's an option that some programs have, but you have to specify it in statute, is your ledge counsel would have to advise you as to whether you can do it or not. But in a fair number of jurisdictions, in fact, I'd say the majority of jurisdictions enacted since 2020, um, the we find that local collectors don't want to be involved in having to do one-off bills for properties that have a CPACE assessment on them. And so a number of states, Washington, Virginia, um, New Hampshire, New Hampshire, New York State, others have a process by which they can delegate the uh, building collection and enforcement to to a third party or directly to a capital provider for the purposes of making it easier on local governments to have to deal with it. It's really dealer's choice in terms of what you believe the state of Vermont and their local governments would like to do, but it is frequently uh, delegated directly to the capital provider because then they can enforce their security interests directly rather than have the town expend time and energy in going through their foreclosure process if they don't need to do it because the property owner has paid the property taxes but stiffed on the CPACE assessment. So it's just something for you to think about. There's plenty of models out there and language out there to do so. And it's really something where conferring with local governments is something that you might want to think about. But other than that, that is pretty much it. The only thing I did is I put in language for Vita, um, and I just want to bracket it because I don't know if and when um, they do want to be the program admin, or if you even want to specify that Vita is. But one question that you might want to have as a state is that if after a time a state agency does want to be the program administrator, should it essentially preempt anyone else wanting to be a program admin for the purposes of consistency, data collection, what have you. And that's kind of what my language does it kind of halfway. It says if an agency like Vita were to come in after 3 years, local governments who already have programs could opt to keep the way they're doing it or to go into Vita. But then any new local governments that enact CPACE would have to use an agency like Vita just so Vita starts getting some traction and uh, governments under its belt. It's just something I put in there. You can toss it out. It certainly isn't needed because the third party availability is already in the language, but if you wanted to create something special, some special treatment, should a state agency want to get involved, this is just suggested language that you may want to have to deal with it.
Do you have a question?
Yeah, I mean, the language that you put in under, in section 3277 about the program administrator.
The costs of implementation of CPACE are pretty minor.
Well, actually,
Um,
before you go on, Mr. Yagi, I want to make sure that Senator Hardy, you finish up. Go ahead.
Under section 3277, the language that you. I think the way it was drafted before was that there would be a state agency. That would oversee the program and could contract with a program administrator. And you got rid of that concept and just sort of made the program administrator, who is not defined as the administrator, and that they could subcontract as a program administrator, so it doesn't really make sense. You need to have some entity that oversees or contracts with the program administrator. Cause you know, A1 is the entity that administers CPACE program under this shall be referred to as the program administrator and can then subcontract with another entity, so. I'm a little concerned that this sort of does away with any kind of state oversight of the program. And
I
maybe
understand.
if PETA gets involved, it would do that, but it seems a little sketchy to me.
Okay.
No, I understand. This is all, I think, I apologize, Senator, that sometimes when you enter halfway into a statute, you things that you catch rightly, I didn't catch. What that should be referring to is that in the previous section, that the local government designates an entity or shall designate who or what shall administer the CPACE program for it, and that entity shall be referred to as the program administrator. So there's some preparatory language in there that isn't there, but the local government has control over that initial designation. It's part of their enactment of the CPACE program, is part of that ordinance shall designate how the program shall be administered through a program administrator, and they may designate it in that ordinance as someone internally or designate that it'll be contracted out to a third party. So that's just, I apologize for that, but that's something where I'm just running through this as fast as I can to help the committee out, and I probably missed that. But it's not meant to be sort of this thing out in the air. Local government shall, in its ordinance to create it, make a decision that it shall be who shall be the program administrator for the program.
Okay.
Any other questions? So, if I'm not mistaken, I think we've gotten to the end of your recommendations. Is that correct, Mr. Yagi?
That is true.
Okay. Okay, super. Any other questions for Mr. Yagi before we move on? Okay, super. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Yeah,
And if
absolutely.
I can be of any more assistance, just let me know.
Okay, sounds great.
Thank you.
And we do have a little bit of time, and just to flag this for the committee, so we will hear from Ms. Goldstein. Hopefully later in the week, we'll see where we can fit her in. We're also going to hear from Sam Sheehan of Vermont League of Cities and Towns on this as well, so just flagging that, but hearing that there's interest in some committee discussion, so thoughts at this point? If not, that's also fine too.
I, am interested in moving this forward. I'm a little concerned about the suggestions we just got. I mean, he's from an organization that makes money off of this program. So, we want to make sure that where there's proper oversight.
Mhm.
And usually we have a state agency that has some authority in the area that,
Mhm.
like DFR. You know, one of the, as Senator Beck and I hear all the time in finance, like one of the reasons that the captive insurance is so successful in Vermont is they're very well regulated and very
Mhm.
well overseen by the Department of Financial Regulation.
Mhm.
And this is a different entity, a different kind of thing than,
Mhm.
but not having any kind of overseer makes me a little concerned, and it all just seems like he was suggesting that these entities all just work directly with municipalities and figure it all out, and maybe that works for especially our more sophisticated and well-staffed municipalities, but I'm a little concerned about the lack of.
Having one state oversee.
Yeah, and I mean, that might kill it also, because if we, and you know, task a state agency, they're gonna need staff and money for it, but
Mhm.
and you know, we had sort of left that kind of agency blank as we tried to figure out who that would be, and again, maybe it's VITA. DFR, I'm not sure if we have had DFR. in
We have
here.
a paper, but that was in a very different draft early on.
Yeah, but just wanting to ensure, I mean, I think some of his suggestions are probably fine.
Mhm.
It was just a lot this late in the game to
Mhm,
have
mhm.
a, you know, a big rewrite of the bill, yes.
It's true, it's a lot. Any other thoughts? Yes.
Well, we've engaged with, Chris Delia in this process. I'd like to understand what his thoughts are about.
On these.
On the
these
new.
changes,
Mhm.
comments as well.
Mhm. Yeah, that's a good call.
And DFR, I think having them back is it's their jurisdiction.
I mean, this is very technical, one word can really, changes accountability or oversight, or, I mean, it can make a big difference.
Yeah,
Mhm.
And,
Yeah. It's fair. Anyone else?
no, just have to keep plugging at
Mhm.
it, the comment on this,
Mhm.
so the draft
Mhm.
markup,
Mhm.
yeah.
yeah, I guess I wanted to wait to get an official draft before that's one of our drafts.
Mhm. Mhm.
Before, because I'm not sure I wanna go with all these changes, so, yeah, okay, yeah.
Well, and so one question I would have, so if we do a new draft, because I think it would be useful for people that we're asking to comment on it, if there's. Because we could say, comment on these suggestions, we could do that, or. But to have a draft, like an official draft that reflects some of these changes, I guess I'm wondering if. There's parts that we want to. Accept versus not accept at this point, or maybe that's too in the weeds.
This was clarifying for me. I
Mhm.
think that we could give that to DFR,
Mhm.
and have them comment on why, their perspective on what.
Mhm.
This.
And also our
Yeah.
attorney,
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah.
is it Ellen who
Yes.
drafted? Yeah, Ellen. And she might need to talk with somebody else, cause it's a little out of her wheelhouse.
All the stuff.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it might be Maria, maybe, or, but in any case, somebody having our legislative council
Mhm.
look at it, cause. I think it's gonna bring up more questions for them.
Mhm. So, one possibility is that we could have Ellen in to talk about these suggestions sort of as a baseline, to be like, does this work? For us?
I would give her this and have her.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Go before she has it.
Oh, yes, no.
Yeah, not just coming full.
No, I've actually already forwarded this to,
Okay,
so,
That's usually what you talk about too.
yeah,
It's probably of this.
on this,
Then we
before we adopt it as an official draft.
and Joan too, if she's coming in anyway,
Mhm.
have her look at it and see what she thinks.
Yeah.
Or just, how they would want to do it
Mhm.
versus, not necessarily spending so much time on his draft, but like.
Sure,
what are the
what are
changes
theirs?
that you think we should make?
Yeah, I think that's great. Okay, and I think I may also, I'll at least alert Sam Sheehan from VLCT that this exists. And if she wants to comment to, on this version or changes that are envisioned here, that's welcome. But again, if she has, so I think probably the same thing, like if she has other opposite, she would want that would be useful. Okay, and then, I mean, my hope is still to try to move forward and see if we can get this done before crossover. And just to say it out loud, if that doesn't happen, sometimes bills take a couple of years, that's okay. But my hope is that we can get it done before crossover. So we'll see how realistic that ends up being, especially with other priorities. I mean, my highest priority right now is housing stuff, is Act 181 updates. Know that our whole schedule sort of revolves around scheduling people for that.
Well, we can get this to the point that we can give it to Ellen by Friday, knowing the direction, then have her produce the draft over.
Which is great.
Whole meeting to mark up.
Mhm.
Probably find out.
Mhm. Sorry, so you're saying if we can get comments from relevant folks by.
Yeah,
Um.
know the directions, and
Mhm,
give Ellen direction for drafting. Full.
mhm, mhm. Yeah, that sounds great. Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds good to me, so I'm hearing Christelia, DFR, and Ellen. Oh, and we'll also hear from Sam and Joan. Actually. Yeah,
If
okay. Okay. Okay, great. Any other thoughts, comments? On this, anything else? Okay, well, thank you, everybody. Appreciate your thoughts and discussion tonight. Yay that we got a bill done. Yeah, it's exciting. And just to preview where we are going tomorrow, so we're gonna continue to walk in 224, the lake miscellaneous bill, and have some committee discussion about, I think some of the more tricky parts of that bill. We'll also hear from folks on the Act 181 tweaks, SB 25, along with Sam Sheehan on this bill. And then we'll see on Thursday, we'll see a new draft of 213, based on conversation that we just had. Again, Thursday, would love to, hopefully by the time we get to Thursday, we'll have a new draft of 224. So potentially vote there if we're all, feeling good about that. And then circling back to 219, the Energy Navigators bill, we haven't talked about in I think a little while. Yeah, so.
And just so you guys know, the Energy Navigators bill, the Department of Public Service is doing some work that's related to this, and so they seem to be game to take on the work of doing an Energy Navigator report as part of this larger project of him, so.
Which is great.
Yeah.
We did reschedule Ellen for our Act 181 primer, just about what the law says there. And then I'm hoping that we can have a vote on both 213 and 219 by the end of the week. I think that would be great. So wrapping up some stuff, hopefully by the end of the week. That's roughly the plan. Some TBDs in there. So, all right.